to say something about all of existence and life and how it's like basically it's only like it's only meaningless because there's so much meaning. But I'm trying to figure out, how can you have any meaning if there's meaning that contradicts your own meaning and existence? So it's basically to say that like everything is this darkness, and it doesn't really like make sense to continue to live, and there's no reason to think for other people that don't have your best interest in mind, that really actually do not care about you, obviously, because it's obvious and it's so apparent. Like, just look around you. You you have to go to work to buy a house, to just live in a house that you're paying for every month. But why would you have to pay property tax on land that you were already born on? So why were you born on land that somebody else owns? Right? What your parents need to tell you is that they're full of shit, basically. All your parents are full of shit. Alright? I think that a lot of the adults are actually pedophiles, in my opinion. But I'm not, because I'm about to tell you some things. Some like tips, some tips that I made up myself that you don't really have to use or nothing like that. You don't even have to like do anything. You can, if you want to, you can kill yourself, because I don't care, because I don't. So basically, let's see what's happening. Basically, don't watch pornography, because it's not really like it's interesting to just be like, oh yeah, no, that's not interesting. All right, it's just like the only fact that it's just because you're curious, because you don't have a vagina. And I'm going to get into that too, about the vagina and dick thing, and how there's a boy bathroom and a girl's restroom, and we're supposed to be the same, and like all this other weird stuff that I don't really understand. Maybe somebody else understands it, but I don't understand it. So these are some tips that I'm going to let you find out, because I'm going to tell you what they are. And it's like, here it is. It's like, don't watch pornography, because it's nasty. It's very actually nasty. It's filthy. All right. And it didn't just really just come around just recently, or just too recently. No, it just really did come around just recently, actually. but maybe too recent. So you didn't really expect it. It just blasted you, and your senses were just like shocked by it. So you didn't understand what to do. So you were addicted by it. You were basically seduced. That's illegal. That's like basically going up to a girl and rubbing their pussy. All right. Sorry for saying that. I mean, as in pussycat, you know, like whose cat is that anyways? Like I picked it up and she's like, no, don't mess with the pussycat, put him down. I'm like, but anyways, how can you go to a funeral? How can you go to a funeral and then go back home and even fuck a person? Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, if you can do that, then apparently it's not wrong to have sex then. So it's apparently not wrong for me to walk up to somebody or anybody that I wanted to and fucking grab on their fucking genitalia if I wanted to and do whatever I wanted to without getting in trouble. So obviously there's something wrong with it. Alright, so if there's something wrong with it, how do you go to a funeral? Because you obviously go to a funeral at least once in your lifetime or some shit like that. For whatever reason, I don't know why you go to a funeral. Because apparently people die still in 2019. I don't understand that when freaking you have all this information and genetics and health field and being a doctor and a nurse and like, I mean, it's just that you shouldn't be able to fucking just only be able to find information and knowledge just by going to college, because you have to pay for college anyways, and then you have to work for a place that you have to stay only for like a month or so after you make like a $400 payment, that and pornography. So I don't see how you're trying to make a positive change if you just continue to let that filth on the internet. Alright, this is like saying like, alright, you're trying to catch pedophiles and you're an investigator, but there's no way that you're not a pedophile. Alright, if you're looking, no matter who you are, if you're looking at child pornography, then while investigating somebody else looking at child pornography, you're looking at the same thing that they're looking at, and that makes you the same exact pedophile that they are. Alright, so what I'm suggesting is that don't watch pornography. Don't even jack off. Matter of fact, like, jacking off is way better. You can do that, but like I just prefer not. Just don't even do that because it's meaningless. And matter of fact, before I get into that, I'm gonna tell you. No, I'm gonna actually just go ahead and say this. Don't even fuck around with females because they're all liars. They lie. Some of them are nice. Some of them seem nice, but I think really they have no benefit to me or us, basically, people that are like me. So I don't know what I'm like or whatever. I know I'm like, but what I'm suggesting is that instead of watching pornography, just play freaking murder games, like murder games, not murder games, like evil games, you know, like dark games, like The Evil Within, BioShock. You can play these, and you don't have to worry about freaking being seduced or anything like that, because darkness is all around you. But why would I let the darkness seduce me? Because there's nothing good about freaking good. There's nothing good about positivity if there's just negativity around me. So I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, well, it's natural to have sex with somebody, and it's natural for me to have a dick and you a pussy, but I can't just go and walk up and touch anybody's ass that I want to, or pussy, and not get in trouble for it. So that don't really make sense. Like, why would you get mad at me if we're in the same coexistence, we're in the same space full of the same matter, but I can't walk up to you and feel your pussy, alright, or pick up your cat or whatever, because you think it doesn't like me, it's going to hiss at me and get mad at me or whatever. some weird silly ass shit that don't even make sense. And what don't really make sense is, like, how are you going to circumcise somebody and they didn't want their dick skin to be cut off because of some religion, and they're already forsaken? I don't believe in God. I don't believe in all that. I mean, somebody else can believe in that. I don't. I can't really say that it would make sense for you to cut off my dick skin for somebody else, though, that I don't know. That's like, existence gave me a dick skin. Alright? God, if God was everything, then I have a dick skin for a reason. Alright? So I was made with a dick skin. If I was made with a dick skin, then why would God take that away? But you're trying to make it so plausible to have pornography and all this filth on the internet, but you can't even measure physical pain. Like, you can't measure, like, you're not a real actual professional or an expert in physics, because you can't measure the infinity of pain, which is infinity and immeasurable. It can't be measured because it's infinite, and it exists. So what makes you think that we're living to have fun anyways, if everything in the majority of what is undiscovered, but the main majority of what is actual pain? And there's just so much about this world that is actually crooked, and it's not really right at all. It's not even right at all. For existence to literally come into existence spontaneously and literally just be like, oh, I have the equation, unconsciously just going to create the equation of a dick and a pussy, alright, and the sensations that occur in the dick and the pussy, and just create that spontaneously, simultaneously as creating shit coming out of your ass, and I mean, you taking a shit, and physical pain, and your hunger, and your smell, and your taste. But taking a shit, and the smell of something that you don't like, and what I'm starting to see, like what I'm starting to actually know, maybe not know, I don't really know for sure what's really going on, but I'm starting to assume that existence doesn't really match my actual soul, and my soul is really just imagination. So how does imagination feel something such as, like, digging in your tooth with a piece of metal until you reach a nerve that's all in your tooth, and then literally it feels like marbles clashing into each other, and not even hard, just really lightly, and it just creates this big ass frequency that you can't even handle. No matter how much you try to push it more in there, it's something that just goes just more extremer, and it's like, whoa. And you take it out and you get so frustrated because you can't handle it, and you get all mad and shit like that, and you're just like sitting there and you're like why can't I handle it? And you're like quenching all your muscles and shit like that, doing all this like you're getting mad, and it feels like you just got like you just turned vain or something like that, and nothing really matters, and you're like, well, if I can't understand that, and if I can't feel that, then why am I alive? Why do I exist? Like, why did existence create that feeling? Like, you would have to feel that feeling for some reason. I mean, it created it for some reason, so it would have been created for some reason. Like, what measured the specific pains that you feel, like putting your hand under hot water, or what measured the time that, like, you're beginning to ejaculate to the point that you have an orgasm? What measured that? Matter of fact, what would be so complex to even be able to manage billions of proteins, alright, and position them in such a way that it stimulates a feeling like that? Like, you're saying obviously nerves stimulate that feeling, but if your mind is feeling it, then how is it just a nerve stimulating that feeling? Because nerves is just electricity. It's like a computer chip where electricity is going particular ways, and then bam, this was a particular way toward that sufficient amount of excruciating pain. So it's just electricity on what? Your mind? Because your brain is really not your mind. They say it's patterns and axons and dendrites and receiving signals through the gray matter and the sulcus and the olfactory senses and the multi-sensory multi-cortex sending signals in the back of the brain and then back to make a decision, and basically patterns. But I don't believe that, because why would you feel pain, alright, as a warning that your body is being harmed, but then turn around and then die at the age of 80? Or that there's anybody that dies at the age of 80. Alright, so basically, like, here's what I think about existence. Alright, even though there's positivity, I think the positivity is part of the irony of the parody that we're in, which is a sad parody. It's not a funny parody. It's just an unfortunate, sad type of, like, vanity and hurt, and it's no use even wasting your time trying to feed your sexual hunger, even though it's incredibly strong, because everybody is incredibly strong, and they want to grab and touch everything. But when you realize you can't grab and touch anything, there's no sense in feeding it at all, or feeding into it, or feeding into the bullshit of there being a coexistence of a male and a female, when it doesn't make sense for there to be a male and a female. So all that shit is out, because I don't need it. I don't want it. Fuck it. I don't care about that. I don't need all that. I mean, everything else, is out of my control. I can't control it. Nobody can control what's going on in the universe. Nobody can control the advancements that have been made beyond when you even came to existence. You just came like, oh yeah, here I am. There's already a tube TV, and then automatically it evolved to a flat screen. And I'm just thinking, this is really not right. Like, really, we shouldn't even be really playing video games, really, like, to be honest. Like, but if you're playing any video game, don't let them fucking make you play bullshit, because this is will probably be like the bullshit of non-bullshit, but this is really actually the bullshit, when actually the games that we have now, these games make them look like fucking pieces of shit, practically. Like, what the hell is Fortnite? Nobody gives a fuck about no fidget spinners and Fortnite and all this dumbass shit. Like, you might as well just be like fucking retarded. Just like everybody, because we're all retarded, because we don't even know what pain is. So that's why we're fucking so stupid. And everything is always trendy and trending and stuff like that. And you want to act like it's like a big ass party and some stupid ass silly ass shit. Like, she just did the twerk on camera and stuff like that, and everybody gives a fuck. So, anyways, that is just how it really actually is. That's what it comes down to. It's just that life really actually is bullshit unless you really just take the time to realize that everybody is just bullshitting you and they're ignorant too, so you have to get them away from you. Especially if you're a guy, you just have to say fuck all the females, all the women, alright? Because if they loved you, I would have been able to fuck you when I was a little kid, like this. I would have been able to fuck a woman, not some little girls. I would have been able to fuck a woman if I wanted to. But, you know, that wasn't probably going to happen anyways, because I thought I was going to get in trouble. But I realized that we're already in trouble, and because we're a part of it. We're a part of this. It's not a system. It's not a robot. It's unnatural. Existence is unnatural. It's not normal. It's supernatural, and it's super twisted and fucked up. And people are very cold and hard to relate to, and it makes everything more depressing. So what you do is you just feel the darkness, alright? And you feel the vanity, and you feel the stupidity in what people are saying about hope, and you deny their absolute about what they think darkness is. Once you realize that it's only darkness, they'll try to change the darkness into what they want for you, when really they are the darkness, because they want to control everything for you. And you have to watch for those people specifically. And when I say specifically, that means that like, you might end up having to take responsibility for something that's there in your life that's not supposed to be there. Just like you coexist with things that you cannot control, that you can't measure. If I can't measure pain, there's no use in stimulating myself sexually. Even though I want to look at that freaking butt naked girl and what is that? Like I don't have that. Like, and it's like they just tease you, because if you can't go out and practically like see a little hot, like a really hot girl, and it's just like you're thinking like, man, like I wish I could just really go up to her and just like start touching her titties. And I'm telling you, it doesn't seem that unrealistic, but it doesn't really seem realistic either. But I'm just starting to realize that as much as I want to do that, it's not going to happen. And that is really sad. It's depressing. It's morbid. Because it's really a morbid thing to want. Really, sexual shit is really morbid. Genitalia is really morbid. It doesn't really make sense to have one if you can't use it the way that you want to use it. So fuck you, existence, because you're a piece of shit, and that's how it is. I'm not a part of you. I don't really like you. I don't care how you feel about it. Get jealous if you want. I don't care. I've been feeling you getting jealous of me because I've been denying you and all the things that you apparently created for me. Like, you didn't, like, how your body build proteins for you if you're not thinking about it? You didn't engineer the feelings that your genitalia produces. You didn't engineer the hunger that you hunger for, or whatever, the thirst or whatever. You didn't engineer that. You didn't engineer your taste. You didn't engineer your smell. You didn't engineer the feelings that satisfy you, or the feelings that make you be seduced. Alright? You didn't engineer that. So technically this body is really not yours, because you didn't engineer pain by yourself. When you came into this life, you were already automatically in this body. That's like practically saying that you could be a clone and not know that you was a clone. But even the person that made that clone did not engineer their own body. Alright, they just took some cells. Whether you spat on the ground, when you were spit on the ground, do not spit on the ground. Do not spit on the ground. You better let anybody know, do not go to the blood donation center and donate blood. Do not spit on the ground, because somebody will pick that shit up and put it in a microscope thing, put it in a needle, and they'll stick it in an embryo, artificial or whatever, and you'll be fucking cloned. And then they'll fucking put you in a school, and you'll think that it's a real school, and everything that you think, it will be utilized only for what they want. So it's really not actually good, though, is what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people who tell you that there's something that's not good, and they don't really put in a really, like, definitive and like explanation or whatever. They don't really, like, let you know that just because I'm saying this does not make everything okay. Like, doesn't mean that somebody else is doing the work for you just because I'm saying this. I'm telling you this to basically get your mind actually right, because your mind is flawed in the first place. This reality is real. Alright, maybe the atoms aren't really particularly close together and blah 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 and this and that, but the reality is actually real. Pain is actually real, and pain is not really a part of you because you never really measured it. So if it exists in the same existence that you exist in, then obviously there's something wrong, and nobody's really trying to explain it or talk about it. There has to be a reason for it. It must mean that the people that you're not supposed to be surrounded by are everywhere. And I think really the reason that we try to ignore it